Harvard University president Claudine Gay resigning yesterday after facing weeks of intense criticism over her handling of anti-Semitism on campus and accusations of plagiarism. In a letter to the Harvard community, Gay wrote, quote, "It's been distressing to have doubt cast on my commitments to confronting hate and to upholding scholarly rigor, and frightening to be subjected to personal attacks and threats fueled by racial animus." Civil rights activist Reverend Al Sharpton calling Gay's resignation, quote, "an attack on every black woman in this country who's put a crack in the glass ceiling." Joining me now is civil rights attorney, talk radio host, and Fox News contributor Leo Terrell. Leo, good morning.
Hi, Cheryl. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Glad to be here.
Good to see you. We've known each other for years. Leo, all right, talk to me about this. What is your reaction? I mean, Claudine Gay, Al Sharpton, they say that this is about race, and that's why she's been, well, quote unquote, resigned, a.k.a. fired.
Let me be very clear. Al Sharpton, the guy who is the king of the race card, has no credibility. Dr. or President Gay was selected for this job, not because of qualifications, Cheryl, but because of her race. And it kept her in the job way too long. And for Al Sharpton to opine on this situation, let me mention a couple of words. Crown Heights. He has no credibility regarding the Jewish community. There were legitimate business reasons to fire Dr. Gay. And the plagiarism, her lack of response to protect Jewish communities, and her disastrous performance at the congressional hearing. Those individuals who play the race card profit from it. And that's the only reason why they're using the race card, to try to protect her. It will not work.
Guys, man, we got to be honest about this. What happened? You know, the reason why she was fired, and she was fired, let's make no mistake, is because of what she said. She would allow. She would not denounce anti-Semitism. She would not say, yeah, we're not going to have that at our campus. We're not going to allow that. We're not going to allow people to walk around and chant, kill the Jews. We're not going to have that. We're not going to allow that here at Harvard. That's wrong. That is, nasty. And that threatens people. We're not going to have that. I mean, could you just imagine if the president of Harvard was a white man and he allowed, people in white hoods to chant, whatever about blacks? Because again, he did not want to denounce that. He did not want to step on their free speech or whatever. I mean, can you imagine that? No. Again, people would lose their damn minds. They would. They'd be saying, look, see how racist this country is? Yeah. I mean, guys, we truly have to understand, she was not fired because she was black female. But she was hired because she was a black female. We truly have to understand that.
This comment as well, that it was a DEI hire. She was not qualified for the job. But then you've got people like Mark Lamont Hill, who I know you know, as I know as well, who's saying, well, then we need to put another black woman in as the next president of Harvard. What's your reaction to that?
Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Look, Cheryl, I have been a civil rights attorney for 30 years. I have fought against discrimination. It is wrong to select someone based on ethnicity or skin color. And what these individuals are doing is they're basically cheapening. They're lowering the standard. Let me tell you right now, I don't want to mention any names of individuals who got jobs because of DEI. Kareem Jean-Pierre, Kamala Harris. I don't want to mention any more names. These individuals were selected for the wrong reason. And there are qualified blacks. There are qualified Hispanics. There are qualified whites. There are qualified Asians. Pick people based on qualifications, not skin color. I find it offensive as a civil rights attorney. It's not what Dr. King fought for. It's not what the civil rights movement was for. It was to select people based on character and context, not skin color.
Yeah.
You're not hiring them because they're the best candidate. You're hiring them because they're black or because they're female, because they're dark skinned or because they have a vagina. That's why you're hiring them. And again, that is wrong. That is wrong on so many different levels. But again, we truly have to understand that's the way that this country has gone. The Western world has gone. That we're giving things away to whoever because they're the most oppressed. That's what we're doing. We have truly got to understand things are not going to turn out well long term, and they're not turning out well even short term, but definitely long term they're not going to turn out well. Things are not going to be right. Again, I don't care if they're white, they're black, they're male, they're female, but again, give a job to somebody who earns it, who needs to be there, not have anything to do with their race or their sex. Nothing. We truly have got to get away from that. But guys, I'm going to show you a clip from MSNBC. And basically, I think her name's Simone something or other, was, again, basically saying that the reason why she was fired, and again, man, that's what happened. It wasn't voluntary. It was because she was black and because she was female. But guys, watch this.
Claudine Gay was the worst witness that I've seen in a congressional testimony, and that includes the one that I worked on in the House of Agriculture Committee that had cockfighters in it, right? That's how bad she was at that hearing. And then you compound upon that issues of plagiarism. And what we know about plagiarism is when one instant comes, then there come 2 and 3 and 4, which is what we saw here. But I'm not concerned about Claudine Gay. I'm concerned about Jewish kids on college campuses. I'm on the Board of Visitors for North Carolina. I was on our campus at a Board of Visitors meeting the week after North Carolina had similar protests that used images of the gliders and things like that. My school was unprepared to talk about this. I think whether you're Harvard, MIT, Penn, North Carolina, any school, you better be prepared to have real answers on how kids are going to feel safe on their own campuses.
Yeah, I mean, the gotcha mentality here from Elise Stefanik seems to sort of miss the broader point.
I think the gotcha mentality, though, is in fact the point. Let's just be very clear. The testimony from the presidents, horrific. So the horrific. It was absolutely terrible. They answered a human question with an academic answer that they were prepped by their universities, quite frankly, to give. So that's
and law firms.
And law firms,
terrible
okay?
staff work
Terrible
here. I think we can
staff
all
work,
agree.
okay,
Yeah.
across the board. But on top of that, what happened in the aftermath of that, particularly as it relates to Dr. Gay, the calls came and said she was terrible in this hearing and she's unqualified. In 387 years, only 2 women have been president of Harvard University. The first woman was before Claudine Gay. Only 1 black woman has been president. And that black woman now, 6 months after, has resigned from her job because, and look at the statement, it's in the best interest of Harvard to resign so the community can navigate with focus on the institution rather than an individual. Harvard decided that it was unable to continue to weather the storm. And while I don't think the culture wars, frankly, that play out on campus across the country will eventually have the biggest effect in general come 2024. What will have an effect, as Doug said, is how Jewish students feel on college campuses, how Arab American students feel on college campuses, and how every black professional in America can turn on their television today, see this news about Dr. Claudine Gay, and all have the same reaction. It looks as though she was targeted.
It's interesting stuff.
Said she was horrific, and then we had a series of scandals. She then targeted herself. Again, she was worse than cockfighters in testifying before Congress.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a low bar.
I guess I will just say this, is that, again, 387 years, much like when we talked about classified documents with former presidents and vice presidents, and I have said, there's no protocol in which to pack up a president or vice president leaves office. And I think if you go to any home of a former president or vice president, you might accidentally find a classified document or 2. Not necessarily nuclear secrets, but, maybe maybe a piece of paper that they shouldn't have took out. Same thing. Look at what other presidents of Harvard have been investigated for plagiarism. And if we want to be very specific, which I think we should, the issues of plagiarism, it is loose citations. Again, not something I would want to do, but all I'm saying
Some of it was loose citations. Some of it was pure old-fashioned plagiarism.
I think this illustrates the emotions around
which is why this is going to be an issue. I do think this is a race issue just as much as it is an issue about anti-Semitism and Islamophobia.
I don't disagree, but in fact, this is not the only.
Agree.
This is not.
We agree that this is more important than Claudine Gay. This is about students on campus being safe.
I'm glad we've.
Guys, we've got to get away from giving jobs to people based on their race and based on their sex. We've got to get away from that. That's not the way things should be. So again, man, in this country, the civil rights were not fought about giving certain people better treatment than others. It was fought because we wanted to make things equal across the board. Doesn't matter who you are. And again, man, we have got to, as soon as we start doing things to prop certain people up, we're never going to get away from that. We're never going to get back to a place to where we give people opportunities based on their qualifications, and that's it. Again, we're never going to get away from that. I mean, look at this right here. I mean, Simone, whatever her name is, saying, again, that black professionals in this country, they know why she was fired, because she's black. Well, that's the reason why she was hired, because she's black. So again, man, we do know, we have got to understand she was not fired because she's black. Again, she was fired because of the scandal, the heat that Harvard was taking. Again, well, she would have been fired sooner if it was a white man. We have got to understand that. But again, the reason why she was hired is because she's black. We do know that. She was an affirmative action hire. She was a DEI hire. She was. That's all it was. But guys, man, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thanks.
You son of a